What is going on, guys? Andrew Acevedo here, back with episode 27 of Mets Weekly. It's my week to host, and we have a watch-along game, again, with the Mets taking on the Miami Marlins. Again, this week, not as controversial, but with Mets land, it's never an easy week as a Mets fan. Before we get started, let's introduce the Mets Weekly crew. Let's start with Elias.
What's going on, everyone? Elias from Big Owl Banter Media here. To all my viewers, sorry I've kind of been away. I've been traveling and whatnot, but thanks for all the support on that Bless Austin video. That came out well. Jets, I'm doing some more football content with football now around the corner, so Jets Panthers preview will be out tomorrow, but I'll try and maybe do a live call-in show on Sunday. Collins. You guys already know. Try to get that done sometime. Really want to get back in the swing of things now that I've settled down and whatnot. So make sure to check out my channel, Big Apple Banter Media. Would very much appreciate it.
Tony.
What's up, guys? I'm Tony Metro. I'm sure most of you guys have seen me on these different streams. We've been doing it for, 27 weeks now? Is that right? Long time. So thank you to the viewers for tuning in. Right now I'm working on a video chronicling one of the worst Mets seasons of all time, which really could be just about any of them in their 60-year existence. So if you guys want to check it out, be sure to subscribe to my channel, Tony Metro.
Is it 1962?
No.
Okay.
Good guess, but no.
Speaking of 62, Frank.
Yes. Anytime you bring up 1962, I just get really bad.
That's good.
But Frank About Sports is the channel. I like to do mostly Mets stuff, some recaps, some news, any big-time sports news. Like to react to that, give the Frank About take on it. So thank you for having me, Andrew. Let's go Mets. Beat the freaking Marlins, please.
Yeah. Hayden.
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name. Raging is the game. I hope we're doing all very well. Mets have been quite a ride recently so far, but yeah, please feel free to check me out. Mets Talk with Hayden. Channel's been doing pretty well, getting a lot of non-baseball fans, and it's awesome. Help expand my knowledge because what do I know about the Royals and the Blue Jays? So yeah, I really appreciate everyone for tuning in. But yeah, pretty much live streams for series recaps, summaries, news, predictions, all that great stuff. Thank you, Andrew, for hosting, and let's freaking go Mets.
And last but certainly least, Mets fan.
I'm a Mets fan. I make content about baseball. I'm the analytical number guy. I'm currently working on videos that will be out this offseason, video series that I'm actually very excited to make. So videos won't be there for a few weeks, but I got a lot of stuff planned. But other than that, LFGM, and like Frank said, beat the freaking Marlins.
Yeah, so we got about 40 minutes to game time, so we got a few questions we got to knock out. And I guess let's start off with, the best player on the team. With him being injured and now conflicting reports from player and the front office, Jacob deGrom. It comes out from Sandy that he's got a partially torn UCL in his heel, and he's like, hey, we can come back. Jake now talks to the media for about 10 seconds today and says, I'm throwing, I'm getting ramped up. I wouldn't be throwing if I'm not fine. So, I guess let's start with Hayden. What is your, who do you trust? Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? And could we see Jake again this year?
Yeah, it's a really, really confusing topic. It's been constant back and forth with what's really going on with deGrom. We haven't seen the dude pitch since, early July. I think 4th of July weekend roughly was the last time he pitched against the Brewers. And since that, it's been really conflicting with the elbow soreness, elbow tightness. Now it seems to be transpired into partially a torn UCL. So that's something you really do not like to see. And yesterday I was talking about it, and the Sandy Alderson statement, and then the one he just made recently a couple minutes ago really conflicted his story. You're having deGrom go out and pretty much say that Sandy Alderson lied, I guess, because he pretty much said my ligament's fine. Why would I be throwing without it? Well, Sandy yesterday literally said that it was partially torn, and I think pretty much anything with partially torn in the ACL in the same sentence does not sound good. I understand. I'm pretty sure. I believe Seth Lugo had the injury a couple years ago, and I believe he got the PPR shot or something. But I don't know that stuff. And it's deGrom. He's a whole different character, whole different body size, completely different goals out there. So it's really unfortunate what they do with deGrom. Personally, even if we were contending for the playoffs this year, I'm not putting him out there. I mean, I just don't know what to trust at this rate. I don't trust the medical doctors in New York that are working with the Mets. I don't trust Sandy Alderson. I trust DeGrom because I don't see why he would lie in his benefit or doubt. But I just don't really know what to believe at this rate. I would rather him get surgery, God forbid, now than go out there and just play on a ticking time bomb. I mean, he goes out there, pitches 102 miles per hour, 80 pitches. So you're on a ticking time bomb. We saw it with Tanaka. We saw it with Glasnow. I don't want DeGrom to be on that list. So I'm keeping DeGrom as safe as possible.
Tony, what are you thinking about this little DeGrom fiasco?
Yeah, you know what? I've been saying for weeks now that if he's not 100% healthy, do not let him pitch. If he wants to throw right now, then great. But obviously conflicting reports based on what Sandy Alderson said this week and now what Jacob deGrom said today. I don't know what to believe. I'm going to go with what Jacob deGrom said because why would he lie? He has no benefit of lying from it. So I don't think we'll see him again this year. They say could return September 13th. That is literally Monday. He's not coming back September 13th. The Mets are still 4 games out. Do not rush him back. Hope he's ready and good to go for 2022. And that's where I'm leaving it at.
You got to be safe. Again, there's a chance of the playoffs, but do you want to risk it for a chance, not a guarantee? Elias.
All right, so I'm no scientist, don't get me wrong. You could see my grades, for example. But if you have a torn UCL or a partially torn UCL, I'm guessing it doesn't heal up in 3 months.
It does.
Yeah, but it's a partially torn. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, whatnot, but I don't think he had a cast on or anything like that, or anything sort. I think he was still throwing and whatnot. I doubt he partially tore it. It was tightness. It's all precautionary. But with the guy who throws it as hard as him, you can't risk it with him. Someone as valued as him, you can't risk it with him. So yeah, I wouldn't pitch him this season. If he wants to throw, like Tony said, let him throw, I guess, as long as it's safe. I trust DeGrom. Just he knows his body very well. I don't really trust Sandy that much. I mean, he's I don't know. He's just kind of. He's on the hot seat. Obviously, he's probably going to get either demoted or fired this year. It's hard to know who to trust. I trust DeGrom because it's his arm. He knows more about it than someone else would. It's just a mess all around. But I hope DeGrom is ready to go for next year because it's a shame. He had a Cy Young season in the making, potential MVP season in the making with the way he was hitting as well. So it's a shame that his season had to get cut short. It's a shame that ever since he got his season ended or paused or whatnot, the Mets have been awful. But get Jake back for next year. Maybe if you make the playoffs, maybe, and if he's ready for that, maybe. I'm just a maybe though, but get him healthy for next year. I doubt he partially tore his UCL though.
Yeah, it's again weird. You're in a tough spot. You're trying to make the playoffs, but yet you don't want to ruin your ace and miss them next year. Frank.
Yeah, I want to go in chronological order. I want to start with Sandy Alderson because this is where the whole thing started from, and it looks like he completely blew it because just the whole way Sandy handled it, his response, it made no sense at all. He says there's a partially torn UCL, but it's a bruise, and a bruise means a tear, which no one has ever said that. With all these sports, no one ever says a bruise and a tear is the same thing. Then he says it's a strain. So, what is it? Is it a tear? Is it a strain? Is it a bruise? And then Rojas Say on the radio says inflammation. That's all I ever heard was inflammation. Even after Sandy Alderson, he said all I heard was inflammation. And then DeGrom says no tear. And Jacob deGrom has no reason to lie. If anything, DeGrom should lie that maybe there is a tear just to go along with Sandy because it only makes Alderson look worse. And what also makes Sandy look bad is the fact that he got so defensive about it. The fact that he's like, it's a tear. Okay. It's a bruise is a tear. Okay. The fact that he got so defensive about with reporters, it's just a very odd look. And it makes no sense. Did Sandy not interpret what the doctors told him the right way? First of all, I don't want to be anywhere near these doctors or training staff because they've botched everything for a million years. You look at how many injuries this team has had. But I think DeGrom, he would know. He's the guy that is having all the testing done. He's at every single doctor appointment, everything, because that's to do with him. So DeGrom would know if there's something up with the UCL. I don't think there is. Hopefully there isn't because, like Haynes said, it's a tough thing to negotiate. Lugo, he tore it in 2016. He's still pitching with it. Tanaka, he battled through it. So you can survive, but if it's not torn and it just magically healed, I just don't really get what's going on. And it really is hard to know who to believe when you hear so many different things. So I don't think DeGrom is going to be back September 13th because that would mean no rehab start after, like we said, last time pitched in July. So no rehab start. That would just be straight up dumb. So by then, if he actually, let's say he does make a rehab start, depending on how he's feeling, depending on how the team is doing, if there is nothing wrong with him, then you could have him pitch. But if there's even a slight tear or anything like that, if he's having a little bit of pain, forget it.
Yeah. That's fine.
I mean, I made like basically an entire article and thread on Twitter on my take of this whole situation. So I'm just going to link that in the chat because I don't really have anything to like completely sum it up with. I'll sum it up with a few words. I guess just this is really not worth the risk if he's not completely healthy. If this organization ruins Jacob deGrom, I will never forgive them. I don't think anybody will forgive them. I think people are already pissed off at them because there's been a few things that's gone on with the New York Mets. But do the right thing. I can't stress this enough.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's no guarantee you make the playoffs. And even if, let's say you rush him back, because let's say you're a game and a half out that last week, you rush him back. Again, one pitch, that was 102, he blows it out. Like, the risk isn't worth the reward, especially when this team's not going to win the World Series. Even if it gets in, it's not going to win the World Series. So, again, if he wants to throw some bullpen sessions just to, get some innings back on his arm and get some, pitches under his arm again. I'm fine with that, but I don't think, one, we need to see him because, again, season's pretty much over. Maybe make a miracle run, but it's just not worth the risk. So from a negative, let's go to one of the positives, and let's go to Javier Baez. A week ago on this show, everyone was a lot of negativity on this show, but the recent play from Javier Baez, I guess let's start with Hayden. Javi's been hitting well. Again, everyone was kind of yelling about him last week. Since the thumbs down happened, that whole incident happened, he has played well. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Javier Baez, I mean, first of all, last night, this is the topic for later, but he was technically clutch last night. That was just a poor call on the umpires. But yeah, Baez has been a really interesting signing. At first, when his name first came out in talks of signing, I didn't really know how to think of it. I wasn't really super crazy about it. I honestly figured he'd be a nice rental on this team. He wouldn't really be extended following the season. And then he had a nice little hot spree. He became clutch in some games. We saw in the Washington series, he became really hot. And that's where a lot of his action really occurred. But keep in mind, though, you have to look at the Nationals. Kyle Finnegan, Eric Fetty, those guys are elite, right? And no one could hit against them. So, keep that in mind with Lindor, too, when we bring him up. But Javier Baez, honestly, I think he's been something pretty solid. I was very concerned of him at first taking over McNeil's spot at second base. I don't know if it's affected McNeil being thrown out in left field. They pretty much just went in and said, we care about Baez more than you, McNeil. You play that. So I don't know if Baez, being a part of this team, I know chemistry was the big talk. I don't know if chemistry is going to be a really big thing for Javier Baez. I know we were also speaking about last week. There's kind of two groups with this Mets team. So that's the one negative thing. But Baez, I think he brings some stuff to this team that the team necessarily didn't have. A lot of athleticism on the base paths. I think that's something that's very important. This team has been lacking it. And he's just an aggressive guy. Listen, when we got him from Chicago, he was a Mendoza line hitter and struck out 7 out of 10 times. We're probably going to see a similar boat here. But you know what? If he could do more of this fundamental hitting and be good on the base pass, I'm down to it.
Yeah. I guess I'll save the hater for last. Tony, what are you thinking about Javi?
Yeah, he's been hitting the ball, which has been great. Obviously, we knew the glove we were going to be getting. He's, fielding like an elite level middle infielder, whether it's at short or second base. So love that. I still stand by what I said last week, and I just am not sure how great of a fit he is on this team as it's currently constructed. As it pertains to re-signing him next year. There's too many guys on this team that are ready to strike out, that can't move the runner over, that can't get a run in from third with less than 2 outs. And striking out is one of the big reasons that leads to those kinds of issues. So, I mean, it'll depend on how the rest of the roster shakes out next year. If we're bringing back largely the same people, I'm not so sure that Javi Baez at a $150 million price tag is a great way for the Mets to spend money when it appears we have a hole at catcher. And it looks like we may need to get a true center fielder, not because Nimmo's not been great, but because he can't stay healthy. So there's a few things we need to, let's not forget the rotation as well. So there's a lot of needs for this team heading into the offseason, and spending that money on Javi Baez may not be the most prudent way to spend their funds.
Yeah. All right, Frank, Puerto Rican brother, what do you think? Javi Baez.
I mean, he's definitely played a little better lately. What I like about Javi is that he just does a lot of things to help you win the game. If it's a swing where he gets a big hit, if it's what he does in the field, which he's been really, really good in the field. I mean, he makes all the plays. He's catching all the pop-ups. He's going into foul territory. He's going into shallow center field. He's turning, 4-4-3 double plays like it's nothing. He makes it look easy. So that's definitely been a nice boost to this defense. And then on the basis, we know what he could do, especially if you actually sent the guy. I know he's a little banged up right now, but if you had a 100% healthy Baez, he would be swiping bags like there's no tomorrow. So that's another element that they haven't even utilized because the Mets don't send runners. When they do, they don't do it at the right time. But Javi Baez, he's going to hit you some home runs. He's done that. He used the opposite field a lot in Washington. I really like to see that because we see him a lot of times flailing at the outside pitch and then just, pulling one into left field. But the fact that he was going the other way in Washington was really good to see. And he had a hit to the opposite field yesterday. And if that foul ball was called a fair ball, that also would have been to the opposite field. So if he continues that approach, his strikeouts aren't as bad as they were in Chicago. WRC plus is good right now, so that automatically means that he's playing well. As far as the re-signing, we'll wait till the end of the year. But we know he's going to have a game, probably this week or next week where he's going to strike out a bunch of times and not get any hits. So, that is going to happen. But I think that he just does, so many other things well that helps you win games. And he's done that in such a short sample size that you do like having him on your team. And we'll just see what they do. I mean, they're going to – if they do want to keep him, there's just going to be a lot of moving parts. That's all. You just have to make a lot of decisions, not so much with him, but with everybody else on the major leagues and more importantly in the minor leagues, because we saw, Ronnie Marusso getting promoted to AA. It's something to watch.
It is very, very true. Yeah, Ronnie Mauricio getting promoted to AA. Yeah, we're not going to talk about it, but just go on Twitter if you want to see something very funny. Mets fan, what do you think of Javi?
I mean, listen, El Mago is what it's translated to be, and Javier Baez displays that magic. He's a magician. The whole thumbs down crap, I mean, magically turned the script around by providing that flair. I mean, is he a perfect player? No, not at all. Javier Baez is also not Francisco Lindor. They're actually polar opposites, to be honest, and that's why they complement each other so well. Baez might be a huge shit talker. He might be cocky. He may be an overconfident guy, but at the end of the day, he backs it up. Every team needs a little bit of crazy, okay? Especially with this conservative and hesitant baseball team that we have on the field every day. He makes them better. And it also makes me recall another undisciplined guy that we got at the 2015 trade deadline. I don't know. Maybe I'm just imagining it. But Baez is definitely what you need right now. And even though he's not a power hitter at all.
Totally not. All right. Here you go. Elias, Javi Baez.
All right. So
Floor's yours.
you introduced me as a Javier Baez hater, and I'm stepping away from that role because this dude, he's impressed me, man. And I know I'm waffling and whatnot. But, hey, I told him he's on my team now. I'm going to root for him to do well. I'm not going to be sad that I got my take wrong. I thought Jonathan VR was going to suck. He's been great for us. And, I'm happy about it. I don't give a shit. I care less about my pride than my team winning. And he's been a great spark plug for us. He's been playing a really good second base. Also could have that flexibility to play shortstop. It's interesting when you talk about re-signing him because it's a consideration of mine. No doubt about it. I think you can't break the bank for him. He might have to take a little hometown discount, stay with his buddy. I don't think there's going to be a tremendous market out there for him just because of those strikeout issues and because his recent inconsistencies. If you can get him kind of in a role where I'm going to address this on my channel more in the future. A lot of the better teams are playing more matchups and not just putting a superstar, all-star lineup out there every day, go play. They're using analytics, which, in some ways I'm very much for. In this way, teams like the Brewers, the Giants, they've had tremendous results with it, putting players in the right situation. I'm not saying platoon Javi Baez because he's not going to come back to platoon. But if you have him in a role where he's, playing multiple positions, not necessarily playing every day, like him and McNeil kind of splitting time, but also playing a bunch, pinch hitting in a role like that, you guys know what I'm saying? I'd be really interested in seeing him back. I don't know what his market is. What do you guys think? Maybe like 16 million a year? That might be a bit of, a bit low. Just because
at least in the 20s, at least.
The thing with him too is like he's going to sell tickets. Like, Bryce Harper is obviously a great player, but part of the reason he got such a big contract with Philly is because he could sell tickets because he's such a superstar player. The same thing with Baez. Obviously, Baez is not Bryce Harper, but I would be open to bringing him back. My hate level is turned down here. I gotta pretend this knob right here is my Javi Baez hate. Turned it down. I don't know why I had to do that, but yeah, I mean, the dude's proved me wrong.
Gotta love the babyface turn from Elias on Javi Baez. So obviously, you watched last week. I was the only guy that wanted him back here, and last year I didn't care. Javi had a great week. It's what he does.
We still gave up too much. I wish we would have given up less.
Who knows? If he's Kevin Kiermaier, who cares? I don't care about defense. I care about hitting homers.
More, though.
That is true. But I'll take homers over defense.
You just say he's Kevin Kiermaier. I don't care about defense. Offense.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about PCA. It was tough to get rid of him. But here's the thing. He's 19 years old. He's 3-4 years away from major leagues. I know the outfield depth is very thin right now in the minor leagues for us. But 2022 is going to be apparently the best outfield class in the draft. So,
and you got 2 picks.
And those guys are going to be what?
And you got 2 picks
right?
too. So why not? And they loaded up on pitching this
2021. That's maybe right in a year or two, but still, it's going to take some time for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't look.
They didn't get some guys from college.
Hold up, I don't always look at prospects as my future players. I look at it as my capital, like ways to spend.
I see it as depth.
How I always say it is like with Kelnick, people say, oh, if he busts and Diaz is great for us, it's a great trade. No, you could have gotten so much more back for him. You wouldn't have to take that Cano contract on.
Absolutely.
Prospects is not just your future players and whatnot. It's basically like spending money. That's why these teams like the Padres can go out and get these superstar players like Snell and Darvish, and say what you want, have they been for them, but they have these prospects. They can go out and get those players. So when you're getting rid of your top prospects for not enough, I don't care about how good the trade is in the end, because you could have always gotten more.
Yeah, and I wanted to say, putting aside what the Mets did give up for Baez and just how he has played so far, like, I am not opposed to bringing Javi Baez back. He has been a lightning rod at times for this team, and we've seen it throughout his career, and it's been sustained over periods of time throughout his career. That being said, again, as I brought up, there's a lot of holes, a lot of question marks on this team. So the price for me, it has to be right. It has to be something that won't hamstring the team. And, it's probably going to mean that Jeff McNeil's on the move, that maybe Dom Smith's also on the move, which I feel like a lot of people are okay with at this point. But it's going to require a major roster shakeup to keep Javi Baez. And they're going to have to find a way to maybe even move some money of some guys. James McCann, fingers crossed.
God.
Send him to the moon.
Well, I mean, that's the richest owner in the league. That's his job. I mean, you know what? We were pretty conservative, all things considered, this first offseason, stayed under the tax while the Dodgers went insane. So, if this team missed the playoffs and Cohen does have a major shakeup in mind anyway, maybe Baez is part of that shakeup, keeping him and then saying, all right, let's just, really shake it up and move guys around.
Well, McNeil,
right.
I don't think McNeil gets traded. Like, he has legit value.
Not
Like,
yet.
not as a bench guy, but like as a super utility man.
Yep.
You can play 4
Chris Taylor.
positions. Yeah, exactly.
I think, the first step here is Cano. What the hell are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
That's
Because
the
he
first
plays the
step.
same position as Javi. He's gonna. I mean, Cano's only playing second, and like
Cano's not gonna be
I
there.
said this last week, but them deciding the DH
Who the hell
has
wants
to
him?
happen as soon as possible.
And
It
I
has
don't.
to.
And,
Random-
yeah.
Oh, don't forget new CBA. You don't know what the
Yep.
luxury tax is going to be, whether there's a salary cap, stuff like that.
Or
You
when the
never
CBA
really
gets
know.
done. It's like we're all like, oh, the DH is coming, but we might not know that until like
We might
last
have a
year,
season next
week
year.
before the season. So we don't know. Exactly. We don't even know if there is a season.
next year. Yeah.
Exactly. So.
All right,
Uh,
here you go. Here's my trade. You ready for this? All right,
Oh,
real
boy,
quick. Sorry, Andrew.
Here we go.
Ready?
What we got, Tony?
Ready?
What we got?
Mets are going to send Robinson Cano to the Minnesota Twins. They're going to eat $10 million. They're going to get Kenta Maeda back. They're going to take on his full contract. That way, the Twins, midway through the season, can flip Cano for $5 million to a contending team if he's hitting. The Mets solve a rotation problem.
Maeda
out
just
for
had
all
a
of
big
next
surgery.
season?
Yeah,
Well,
Maeda's coming off
fuck me.
surgery. I think
Tommy
isn't he like
John.
$10 million too? I mean, that's not. I mean, that the idea isn't terrible. I mean, it's because both
Doesn't
contracts are
Maeda
like
have,
$10
like,
million
an
per.
Let's hear it for
Amount of
Tony
control, though.
Epstein. Yes.
Tony Epstein
Yeah,
owed it.
Tony
Yes.
Epstein.
That's not. I mean,
I
that,
think
Yeah, Tony
That's not
Van
terrible,
Wagenen.
Tony Van
No.
Wagenen.
Please,
All right.
God, no.
We got a little positive, and if you know
Tony
I host.
Porter.
Oh, what
No, I'm
Tony?
kidding.
Oh God, Tony.
And don't forget, there might be a completely
Whoa.
different person in charge of the team.
Exactly. We don't.
anyway.
Yeah.
So they might be like, you know what? Buy out McCann's contract. Just like do like the Jacoby Ellsbury. Just give him the money. Go away.
1 year.
Nico,
Damn.
get him
1 year. Oh my.
Go away.
Like the next person could have a completely different mindset. Like I don't need. Like we talk so much about Brody guys. Oh, maybe I don't need Sandy guys. Or something like that.
That's
Like
the
that
whole
could
thing,
happen
though.
to
That's
the
the
next
issue.
person that's in charge.
Mm.
Again, I think the only guys that are safe are Jake, Lindor, Nimmo, and Alonso. Everybody
As
else
it
is
should
expended. That and maybe some
Guillorme
prospects, but
started.
So- got a little positive. We're always when I'm hosting it. It's a mountain range. Now let's get some negativity going. Should Edwin Diaz still have the ninth inning? And I know
Why
I'm
do
gonna
we
say
have to
I know
talk
who the
about
main
this
event of this
every
is gonna be,
time?
so I'm gonna save him for last. I'm gonna go to Frank first. Should Diaz stay in the ninth inning?
This is such a hard question. It really is because you know what? For the most part, he's gotten the job done this year. Every reliever blows saves. I get that. And every reliever on this team has had their their ups and downs. Everyone's had their good weeks and bad weeks. Everybody, Loop, Lugo, May, Familia, Diaz, like everybody on this team has had good weeks, bad weeks. And obviously Edwin Diaz is in the midst of a bad week. And I think it's come to the point now when it's September 9th and you're 4 games out, it's like literally it's closure by committee at this point. I just think that now you're in such a deficit that you have to play the hot hand. If Trevor May's having a good week, Trevor May's the closer. If Familia's having a good week, Familia. If it's Brad Hand, like whoever it is, they're the guy. As of right now, it's not Edwin Diaz just because he's struggling. And I think Edwin Diaz is a guy. The thing that concerns about Diaz is that like with Diaz, it's not one blown save. It's usually 2 to 3 blown saves in a row just because of his mental makeup. And you saw last night, Edwin Diaz was so amped up to try to, prove the doubters wrong because of, the whole madness that happened over the weekend. Everybody, get rid of Diaz, worst ever, all this stuff. And Diaz was just overthrowing. I mean, you saw, Mazika had to do some absolute magician work to prevent any wild pitches. It's up and in. It's up and away. Like his ball was all over the place last night. So as of right now, just to get him settled down, I think that, Trevor May's been pitching good this week. Let Trevor May have it. If May struggles and Diaz is showing that he's good again, you can put Diaz. If Lugo gets it figured out, he hasn't been great either, then you give it to Lugo. Right now, it's got to be closed by committee because it's just got so late to the season where you can't just automatically bank, Diaz is going to get done. Like Ross said last night, we trust Diaz. We don't need intentionally wall guys. We got Diaz. At this point in the season, you just can't have that mindset. It's all hands on deck right now.
Hayden?
Yeah, it's really tough. Like Frank said, the thing is he's very inconsistent. He'll, like everyone has their good weeks, their bad weeks. That's true. And I think what we're seeing with Edwin Diaz is that, he'll go out, he'll throw 10 or a dozen solid innings, and then he'll have 3 starts in a row, or in this case, 2 starts in a row, and the slider command isn't there. His command in general isn't there. He's throwing the ball. Near who was it? Chisholm literally almost hit Chisholm twice in the head. And then that's something you really got to be careful with, especially in the 9th inning, tie ball game or even a 1-run lead. You know what? If it was April right now, if it was May right now, I'd say, sure, let's give him some time to ride. But you have 22 games left. like I said, Diaz, as soon as he gets hot, everyone's going to be back on his train. He has 2 blown saves in a row. It sucks. I'll take the portion of this year compared to 2019, or I guess even 2022. That was a good year for him. Short year, but still solid. But yeah, just very unfortunate that it's come down to this. I mean, the series in Pittsburgh, that was unfortunate. Yesterday wasn't his fault. We'll get more into that, but I mean, the series in Pittsburgh and the 2 Nationals is just really unfortunate.
So yeah, Elias.
All right. So with Diaz, I really like Frank's take. Closer by committee. I think it should have always been this way. I think that's, like I said, the direction the sport's moving in, playing more matchups and stuff like that. Having a guy go out there, every 9th inning or every other 9th inning, when it doesn't make sense to, matchup wise, it doesn't always make sense. And, I'm tired of having to defend this guy constantly because I got an argument with some moron Red Sox fan. I'm just kidding. He's a buddy of mine, but yeah, Edwin Diaz sucks. Oh, Fenway Park's better than Citi Field. All these stupid takes. But I was like, no, he doesn't suck. He's been bad recently. And it's annoying because how bad Diaz was in 2019. Now, every time he blows a save, the freaking Twitter, and it's not just Mets Twitter, it's national coverage and stuff. Oh, Edwin Diaz, Ed Luis Diaz. Oh, he's back at it again. All this shit. It's yeah, you've ignored how good he's been outside of these couple rough outings. Now, it sucks that the rough outings come when the kind of season's on the line, kind of especially what happened in 2019. So like I said, closer by committee is the way to go. If the matchup doesn't make sense for Diaz to go into there, don't put him in. I think, using those analytics, using those matchup numbers to your advantage is going to really benefit this team in the future. Like I said, good teams do that. Look at the Dodgers. Whenever they kind of do the closer by committee thing, it works. And then when they put Kenley Jansen out there in a big spot, he blows it. I mean, not always, but it seems like every time I watch the Dodgers, Kenley Jansen blows it in a big spot, at least of recent. Obviously, prime Jansen, completely different story. But Diaz, just one request: stop pointing at the fucking sky, please. It is Hansel Robles Part 2.
Yeah, it's nothing better than it's a pop-up. No, it's 470 feet. Okay, Mets fan, here's your boy. Does he still deserve the 9th?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Edwin Diaz is too dominant to not pitch in the 9th inning. But that goes without saying that his confidence needs to be there. And as he's had 3 rough outings in a row, the confidence dwindles. And that can't happen right now. So yes, I'm confident in Edwin Diaz, but is he? And that confidence could have been helped if a certain manager last night, who we'll get into a moment, I just want to say, since I've been getting a lot of comments recently, I want to talk to the new, we need a new closer people and the blown saves criteria people. Let me tell you why you're not smart. Okay. There is no such thing as a perfect closer. And I hate the role in general, but there's no such thing as a perfect closer. For the blown save department, let's look at some other closers, okay? Brent Suter and Daniel Bard, 8 blown saves. Hector Neris, Giovanni Gallegos, 7 blown saves this year. Liam Hendricks, Scott Barlow, Jake Diekman, Richard Blyer, Matt Barnes, Alex Colomé, AJ Minter, Aaron Bummer, 6 blown saves this year. Tyler Rogers, Mark Melanson, Kenley Jansen, Rafael Iglesias, Jake McGee, Diego Castillo, Alex Reyes, Yasmero Petit, 5 blown saves. And the guy that everyone wants to replace Diaz right now, Aaron Loop, has 4 blown saves. There is no perfect closer. And don't give me that Mariano Rivera crap, because he had at least only 1 full season where he did not blow more than 4 games. So please get out of my Twitter DMs and stop blaming me for Edwin Diaz messing up. I am not at fault for a delusional wish that people have with a closer every single year. Thank you very much. Who's next?
You notice you didn't say
There's
Craig.
one problem with your blown save criteria is that Edwin Diaz, like last night, gave up a game in a tied game. That's not a blown save. It was a loss. He has 6 losses on the year. So, I mean, if you worry about who gives up blown saves, Diaz does more than just the blown saves. So that's not always the case. We're like, oh, well, these closers, they have blown saves, but those guys, a lot of those guys aren't even that good that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So
Are you
I'm not
telling me
really
that
worried about
criteria
what
is
Hector
terrible?
Neris is doing or Barlow or them. Like, they don't really – I'm not an elite reliever. I'm not like, oh, my God, I need to have Barlow be the closer over Diaz. No one said that. But, I mean, you can't say that this guy is dominant right now because he's not dominant.
I will say you didn't say Craig Kimbrell, so just gonna leave that there.
No.
All right, main
I
event.
remember Frank's take. It's like, when he was begging, he's like, Diaz better not lose this season, when we're talking about Craig Kimbrell. And obviously he's not the reason, we've been losing and whatnot. I mean, he's part of it. I mean, the offense is clearly the problem, but yeah.
So, Tony, the main event of the segment. Does Edwin Diaz still deserve the 9th inning?
I am going to shock you all and say yes, that he does. But under circumstances, the closer by committee is what the Mets should be trying to do. Here's the problem with that. Seth Lugo, the guy who I think every other Mets fan coming into this season would like to have been the closer, has been dreadful for most of this season. So, I mean, Frank, how could you disagree with me? Every time he's pitching in the last month, he has the bases loaded.
Does he get out of it? Does he get out of it?
I mean,
From good defense.
yeah, that's the same thing. I mean, come on, he is getting lit up. He's been getting lit.
I think what he's trying to say is that like the Seth Lugo we were imagining, he's not.
He's
Like,
not
that's
the
what he's
Seth
trying to
Lugo
say.
from 2019.
I don't know about dreadful,
not
but he
the
hasn't
Seth
been
Lugo from
particularly
2019.
good.
He's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to get at is Diaz has been very disappointing for me as a fan since he came to this team. He has these stretches, like you said, Frank, 2-3 games in a row where he just can't find the strike zone, blows saves, gives up the lead. I've been told by analytic people blown saves is not a way to measure a closer. So I don't really know what they want to hear at this point. But I feel the best way to go about it is to do a closer by committee. I think that each of them, when they have the hot hand, should be the person that this team rides as we wind down the season. Trevor May's been pretty good lately, so I actually probably have the most faith in him or in Loop to close out games. Familia's bounced back after a little bit of a tough stretch there. But yeah, I mean, I'm not just automatically handing Edwin Diaz the ball for the 9th inning. He's obviously in one of these funks, and I just simply cannot say he's elite. He's a serviceable closer. He gets the job done more often than not. He blow saves like every other closer, but elite is not losing your control as crazy as Edwin Diaz does for these long stretches where you have no idea where it's going, walking guys on 4 pitches, hitting batters. That's not elite to me. I don't care if it's only for a 2 or 3 game stretch. You just don't see that out of an elite pitcher. So that's my feelings on it.
Yeah, again, I think closer by committee was the best option. That's why I was clamoring at the deadline. Have some insurance, because can we, I love Diaz, but there's never a bad thing to add another top-end reliever.
Can I just add something to the closer by committee? This is the reason why I call him a top 3 reliever and not a top 3 closer, because I hate the closer role. Everybody hates the closer role. Anybody can go into the 9th inning. Usually it's your best reliever. Usually it's this, that, the guy that you trust to get the last 3 outs. But that's the reason why I say reliever, because the closer role has just died out. It's died out. Anybody can come into the 9th inning. I'm okay with it. What do you mean?
Whenever he pitches not in the 9th inning, he doesn't pitch well.
He rarely
pretty well in the 8th, right? Like, I mean,
when he going for 2 outs, 2 inning save, but we haven't seen Diaz in just a normal, just setup guy. We haven't seen him in New York as a straight setup guy, so we don't know that. So,
and if they want to put him as a setup guy, they can put him as a setup guy. If you want to ride the hot hand, ride the hot hand. Do I trust Diaz to be dominant? Yes, but that's what I mean. I hate the closer role in general, but since it's always this 9th inning crap.
You don't like
your
the
closer
role, but apparently it's a major deal to the rest of Major League Baseball, because when you look at the way Rojas approaches it, the way Diaz approaches it,
It's sad.
and the whole
Yeah.
garbage that happened all offseason. Can't get Mark Melanson, can't get all these guys because the closer role crap, and saves means so much to everybody but analytics people. That's just the
Sad.
reality of the situation. Whether you like it or not, that's just how baseball is right now. So it stinks because I agree with you. I would have loved to have had Brad Hand from the beginning to have, some nights you could have Brad Hand close, some nights Diaz. That's why I wanted him, but obviously that's not allowed. So it's unfortunate. And Loop I don't think should be the closer either. I like the role Loop is in. I like Loop coming in the 6th, in the 5th, in the 7th, in the 8th, where you have a jam, you need somebody that's not going to walk the ballpark, not going to hit the batter. I like going to Aaron Loop in those scenarios. He's done very well as a fireman that he comes in, even if it's just for one batter. Loop can handle those situations much better than a lot of these other guys. And even though he's the best reliever, doesn't necessarily mean that Loop should close because, again, we talk about stuff. I think Loop stuff is best suited when there are, guys on. There are just some pitchers that are better when the bases are empty. And Diaz is definitely one of those guys. He is much better when he comes into a situation where there's nobody on the bases.
Yeah, just sign Ian Kennedy and Razel Iglesias, and then we won't have a problem. Speaking of, again, going back to the positive side, and speaking of the 9th inning, let's talk about the American League saves leader last year and new New York Met, Brad Hand. That should be thoughts. Sorry about that. So let's start. He's only pitched about, 3 innings? 3 innings to Met? 2 in Washington and 1 in Miami?
Yeah.
So let's start off with Mets fan. No analytics people don't love him, but what are your thoughts on Brad Hand?
All right. I mean, is it too early to call Jeremy Hefner and give him the Nobel Prize? I mean, Hand has looked better every single time that he's come out. The first time he looked a little shaky, but he got out of it. The next time he was a little bit like hard contact, and then he started to whip in that slider a little bit. Yeah, backdoor slider looks better. He's not missing any targets. I mean, God knows what James McCann's been doing behind the plate for a target, but whatever. I have no complaints for now. But to be honest, with our luck, he'll be another Aaron Loop for us. He'll be an all-star snub, and we can't have him in the postseason if we make it. So, yeah. But Jeremy Hefner, I love you, man. Extend him. The only guy that actually fucking works in this office.
Yep. Frank?
Yeah, well, I'm glad Hand has pitched well because God knows we've needed it with how things have been lately with this stretch of games that ever since Hand has been here, no days off. And there are no days off in the near future. So you need all your relievers to pitch well because you're not going to have all your relievers. You can't go to Trevor May every game. You can't go to Diaz every game. So you need these other guys to step in those in-between spots. And Brad Hand has done that, whether that's in the 7th or the 8th, runners on, runners not on, facing the lefties. They've done a really good job of that, of utilizing Brad Hand in the correct scenarios, have him face a lefty. He's very hard hit against lefties with that slider. So I'm glad they've used him in that role. It's worked. And I hope that maybe if Brad Hand somehow likes it here and he likes, if he's okay with the role, maybe if nobody offers him a closer role elsewhere, he would be willing to stay in this kind of role because I think this role suits him well. I've always been high on Brad Hand ever since the beginning. Like I said, I'm going to go down with the guy. I'm not going to just change my opinion because Toronto is just not a place for anybody to pitch. I just think they needed pitching help, so they got Brad Hand. He did terrible there. So I think that's more on the Blue Jays, in my opinion. Look at, for example, Sonny Gray with the Yankees. Like, for some players, it just doesn't work. Kimbrel with the White Sox. Like, for some players, it just doesn't work with certain teams. So I think that I like what Brad has done, and hopefully he keeps it up because in this stretch of games, like we talked about with Diaz, these other guys, Lugo struggling, we need Hand pitching well.
Don't worry, he'll close out game 162 for the division title in Atlanta. Elias, what are your thoughts on Brad Hand?
Yeah, so, I mean, I haven't been able to tune into a lot of the games he's pitched in just because I've been, busy traveling and all that good stuff. But it was fun because my friend who's a Blue Jays fan texted me good luck with Brad Hand, and me and him ended up having like an hour-long conversation. So thanks for Brad Hand because I hadn't talked to him in a while. So shout out to Brad Hand for getting my social life up. But outside of that, no, he's been impressive. I mean, he was dreadful with the Blue Jays. It was, between us and DC, or Washington, whatever you want to call him, to get him, he mentioned that, in an interview that the closer role wasn't really a thing for him. It probably was. He was probably just lying about that. Classic players don't really give out, spicy answers and whatnot. But, Brad Hand, I mean, he's been good, hasn't given up a run. I believe so, right?
Yeah, not an earned run.
Not an earned run, nah.
Not that's what you hope for with a reliever. So yeah, like Frank said, hopefully if he continues it, keeps it up, that's another guy, another, at the time, a top reliever we can add to our bullpen. Hopefully he can stay there.
Yeah, I mean, Hayden, what are your thoughts? You made a video about the signing where you were 50-50. What are your thoughts now seeing him in a Mets uniform?
I did, yeah. I mean, Brad Hand was a guy that, let's be realistic, all offseason, all this guy's name was kind of popping up. I mean, coming off a great season with Cleveland, he was a huge guy that was coming up. And pretty much Sandy acquired him. That was one of Sandy Alderson's goals, but hate to break it to you, Sandy, you got him 9 months late, which I –
Do you lag out?
Yeah, I guess
kind of
so.
a benefit
Oh,
because
that
we
was
know
a great
for the
pause
Mets-
face right there. Whoa.
Yeah, I'm lagging out.
Love
Yeah, a
that.
little bit.
I think you're good now, though. No.
All right, guess
Hey,
not.
let's go, Javi Baez, man. Let's go.
Look at that, Mago. Tony,
Double, double.
what have you been your thoughts on Brad?
Good bullet for a non-power hitter.
We covered it last week when the Mets first signed him, and I said whatever we can get out of him, great. I didn't have super high expectations based off how he'd pitched with the other two teams this year. I don't think a lot of people are really being fair to Brad Hand, and maybe that's because, yes, he was the AL saves leader last year, but this guy's been pitching since 2011 when the Marlins were still called the Florida Marlins. I mean, I hadn't even graduated high school. I'm now far removed from graduating college. This guy's been around a long time. So maybe just not having those expectations of he's an elite closer now or an elite shutdown arm in the bullpen is a more fair way to assess him. And obviously, so far, he's been very good. He's gone 2 2/3 innings. He has given up 3 hits and a walk, but he's kept runs off the board. So there's going to be stretches where guys don't do their job. That could be Diaz. That could be May, Familia. Castro's really been giving me a terrible feeling every time he comes in lately. So it's just nice to have another guy that you can go to because you can't just ride the hot hand every single night unless you want Aaron Loop's arm to fall off. So really happy with Hand. The more he can give us, the better. And if the Mets do somehow sneak into the playoffs, hopefully it will have relieved some of the exhaustion off of these guys that, we've just been riding so hard all year.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, going to Atlanta, maybe have a chance. Hayden, you want to continue what you're trying to say?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was going to watch it out there, but my iPad was giving me some issues. Brad Hand was a guy that pretty much I'll repeat again in case you didn't hear me. Sandy Alderson wanted him all off season. He was a guy that he pressed for. And now that he's technically kind of making the GM rules, he pretty much got him just 9 months later after he expected. I mean, I guess that was kind of a good thing. We really saw he struggled in Washington and then just obliterated terribly. He just blew up in Toronto pretty much. For his first appearance, he pretty much blew the game. I forgot who they were playing, but he looked really bad out there. We know that he really started relying on the fastball more compared to the slider, and some of the velocity did dip. But pretty much Jeremy Hefner, I think he's a guy that could potentially work with him, fix him. You look at this pitching rotation and a lot of these guys who weren't crazy guys in other teams, and you've seen they come a long way. So maybe, Mets pitching staff, especially Jeremy Hefner, could work with Hand, and hopefully he could try to return to his old Cleveland self.
Yeah, again, Diaz will be out of the 9th inning, and Brad Hand's going to close it out. Again, he's going to be our closer. Mets, I think everyone went, right?
Yeah, we got everyone.
All right. So let's get back on some more negativity. I probably should have brought this up after we talked about Edwin Diaz. Let's go to last night. 10th inning. 10th inning. Guy on second, and De La Cruz is coming up. You got first base open. And Luis Rojas trusts Edwin Diaz, and De La Cruz hits the game-winning hit. Let's start with Frank. What is he doing?
You never know. As Javi Baez swipes third base, pretty good for a guy that's just a rental and sucks and the worst player in history. But anyways, so, Luis Rojas, the thing about him, he continues to just dig himself a bigger and bigger hole. And, the evidence is mounting against him for him to be terminated ASAP. So, when the Mets let go of Rojas, what he did last night is an example of like, you know what? We don't have any regrets. We don't have any second thoughts. Like, no, he has to go. And what bothers me the most about Rojas is just his stubbornness, his approach, his mentality, and it's been all season long. This guy refuses to change. We trust Edwin. We trust Edwin. That's fine. I'm glad you have confidence in Edwin Diaz because we know Mets fans talk about Edwin Diaz's confidence himself. Like, Diaz needs all the hype he could get. I understand that. But as a manager, when you have Lewin Diaz, not Edwin Diaz, Lewin Diaz after De La Cruz, like, it's one thing that De La Cruz is swinging a really hot bat. Ever since he's been called with the Marlins, he's been crushing you every time. He was having a good game. Besides just the fact that he's good, the guy behind him was really bad. I mean, like, if De La Cruz is really good and you have another really good hitter after him, okay, you know what? I understand it. But if you ever heard that so much worse with 2 outs, I mean, it made so much sense. And the whole booth said it. We said it. All of Twitter said it. Everybody said it except Luis Rojas. Why is that? Why does Luis Rojas think that he's so smart that he could be different than everyone else when it doesn't work? And then in the same inning with the whole pinch hitting garbage, let me go to 0 for 10 Mazika over J.D. Davis. Why? Because Mazika's left-handed. Kevin Pillar has been great in extra innings. All Pillar's big hits this year have been extra innings. Let me take Pillar out of the game and go to Guillorme. Why? So he just, what could Ford do? Take strike 3 down the middle? Oh, no, got away. Does Baez score? Oh, he does because he's
up the game or no?
Oh, but he strikes out too much. Doesn't count.
That's what happens when you steal bases, man.
You traded PCA.
But he strikes out too much. Anyway, but Rojas, so again, just his whole approach, and it's been like this all season long. The lefty-righty stuff, he cares about that too much. We have confidence in Edwin Diaz. I mean, at this point, we're just trying to win some freaking games. And we talked about it a million times with the bunting and not stealing bases, not sending runners. So I just think that the decision, it was bad. And the fact that, like, even looking back on it, he sticks with it. In the post-game press conference, he stuck with it. He was interviewed on the radio today. He stuck with it. He just kept saying, no, wait, trust Edwin, trust Edwin. Like, he just wouldn't even own up to the fact that he messed up. He puts all the blame on the players. Like, like, his mentality really drives me nuts.
Yeah, and remember, he did the same thing with Jesse Winker to Edwin Diaz. Do you want Jesse Winker?
Rojas was suspended, but Jazz did say this is how Rojas handled it.
Would have done it.
So he said this is his line of thinking. He was trying to replicate what Ross would do, which is never a good sign. That is never a good idea.
You know he has to be a good MLB The Show player because he plays the matchups way too damn much. Let's move on. Mets fan. What happened?
All right. I don't know if this has been said before, but this guy is an idiot. Now, I do think do I think that Diaz can strike out De La Cruz? Absolutely. But you have to realize the situation that you're under right now. Your closer, said closer, who comes into the 9th inning, has blown back-to-back games in his last 2 appearances. You proceed to bring him in a tie game with his confident shot with a runner on second, the dumbest rule ever made by our soul-sucking commissioner, but that's a different story. So he gets 2 outs on a sacrifice bunt and a strikeout. Here comes De La Cruz, who's destroyed us. Since we first saw him, the man on deck has 4 hits since August of 2020. And you don't intentionally walk De La Cruz with first base open. It's decisions like that that show that he is not a major league manager. They show that he has no instinct. They show that he purposely sets this team up to fail. And then he has the audacity to say afterwards that he didn't even think about walking him. And he didn't like the lefty-righty matchup with Lewin Diaz. Oh, and by the way, left-handed hitters against Diaz this year, 58 WRC+. Listen, Diaz was not there last night. And he's had outings where this has happened. But 9 times out of 10, he's found a way to get out of it. He's composed himself better than he did in 2019. But that game is on Luis Rojas. He screwed up. He set this team up to fail, like as per usual. Mistakes like that, especially in September, are unacceptable. Unfreaking believable. But I got to shoot some people on GTA, so I felt better.
Yeah. And GTA makes the pain go away. It's great.
Yep.
Tony, what were your thoughts, and did you want to go fly to Miami and do something illegal after watching that game?
So to be honest, I unfortunately didn't get to catch the last bit of the game. So I had to just go back and read about everything that happened. It sounds like there was some really bad decision-making by Rojas, but just to play some devil's advocate, the Mets scored 1 run against the Miami Marlins. And you can sing praises about Sandy Alcantara all you want, but they scored 1 run against him in 9 innings. They failed to get the free runner home from second base in the 10th inning. I don't know really how you could put too much blame on the manager there when your team only scored 1 run. Now, pinch hitting Mazika instead of JD Davis, or I don't know, was Dom Smith still available at that point in the game? Okay, so
I think Dom's already used.
Even just JD Davis alone, that is a huge critical error to pinch hit him instead of Mazika instead of JD Davis. Just again, to play a little more devil's advocate, I know Lewis Brinson has been really bad in his career so far. So far this year, has a 330 average and an 839 OPS against the Mets. He's actually been hitting the Mets pretty well this year.
Why are you talking about Lewis Brinson?
He was on deck.
No, it wasn't. Lewin Diaz was on deck. Lewin Diaz is god awful.
Oh.
What position is he again?
There goes the devil advocate. Yeah, there goes the
Lewin
devil
Diaz
advocate.
Okay, scratch that
Right,
part.
yeah.
Sorry, I thought it was Lewis Brinson. Okay. You know, in hindsight, yes, it's 2020. They should have walked him. Everybody believes that. Yes, I agree. But the team only scored 1 run and couldn't get the free runner home in the 10th inning. When did they score 2? How?
The foul ball. Foul ball.
Okay. All right. Well, look, the offense didn't do its job. And
but Tony, if it's a 1-1 game or a 5-5 game, it still was a dumb decision, no matter how. Like, whoever you want to blame, like Rojas and the offense deserve blame for the loss. I'll agree with you there, but it's just the thought process he has. He's been consistent with this. He never intentionally walks the guy. He always says, "Oh, we're just going to trust the reliever," even if the match. And he talks so much about matchups. Like, he cares more about righty, right, lefty than a really good player versus a really bad player. That's just not the kind of mentality to have.
Look, I'm fine with giving Rojas a ton of blame. I can't wait till he's fired. I think he's been a terrible manager. I think it was another example of it last night. At the end of the day, they are not scoring. I mean, dude, every time I check the MLB app, 0, 0, 0, 0. They get a solo home run from Michael Conforto, and that's it. They couldn't score the free runner in the 10th inning. I mean, come on. When you don't score the free runner in the 10th inning and you're on the road, you might as well just pack up your shit and go back into the clubhouse because the game is over. I mean, you could have, unless you got Mariano Rivera going out there, you really are walking a tightrope. And there were 2 outs when the run scored, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, yes, again, I'm agreeing with you. I would have walked that guy, went to Lewin Diaz, and brought him up to the plate 100%, but they didn't score. And they failed multiple opportunities to do so. So, I don't know.
Hayden, what did you thought of that whole bottom of the 10th inning?
Yeah, I don't know. It was really tough. Simply enough, you have to take a look, see at how all of it went. Obviously, pretty much the Mets game yesterday was unfortunate. Sandy Alcantara, he had honestly his best start in the major leagues. He beat his career high strikeouts. He went from 11 to 13. What the fuck? How do you?
What happened?
That's why you're not an outfielder, you cock.
Oh, did he make him an error?
All right. Okay. So continuing
Someone
to what
clip
I was
that.
saying. Let me go to another screen because I can't watch this game. So pretty much as we saw, it was very unfortunate, pretty much. Sandy Alcantara had his best start of his career. He beat his career-high strikeout from 11 to 13. His velocity was up there. His fastball was in effect. The only guy that was able to do jack diddly squat against him was Michael Conforto, who had a sweet swinging, gorgeous home run to the right field corner. Offense was pretty quiet for the most part. I mean, Alonso was able to get to him for the most part, but he was stranded on base. And just pretty much the Mets offense was really not existent there. Now going into, I believe it is the 10th inning with the runner on second with Conforto. We were able to move him to third, but he was not able to score. The first controversial things comes into that you pitch hit Patrick Mazeika. First of all, Pilar has been the definition of clutch in extra innings. Okay, yeah, sure, you want to take him out. I understand that. But Patrick Mazeika, the dude has had 4 plate appearances this season. Launch angle, Patrick Mazeika, can't say that in a sense. The dude pulls the ball a nice little dribbler to first base every time. Unless it's Bill Buckner playing first base.
Yeah, Tony.
And you pretty much should not be having him. I understand, yeah, you had JD. They would have walked him. But I'd rather have JD on base and an extra runner on base than Patrick Mazeika at the plate and then following whoever goes next. I mean, honestly, I would have taken McCann offensively there because at least McCann could pull the ball in the air sometimes. As much as he is a scheduled ground out, sometimes we could see that. Going into the whole Edwin Diaz controversial thing. Edwin Diaz didn't really – I mean, the only stupid thing he did was his hand. Otherwise, I think it's really not him. It was Luis Rojas. We know it was this righty-on-righty crap with Bender and all that nonsense that he put in, Mazeika. And then later on, obviously, when he kept Diaz in, simply enough, you walk De La Cruz. WRC plus, OPS, batting average. Up here, Lewin Diaz, down here. I think that's kind of common sense. And I think the fact that all of us pretty much started typing in the chat, why aren't you walking him? Why aren't you walking him? That's just a joke. And then Luis Rojas is, we trust Diaz. Yes, it is September 8th, yesterday. Yesterday was September 8th. You have 22 games to go. You trust your closer in April and May, not when you have 22 games left. I mean, what are we doing here? And everything, 95% of this goes on Rojas. I give Diaz props. He was able to get to 2 outs, but pretty much all of his blown appearances happen when it's 2 outs. So, I mean, being realistically, even if it was 2 outs and 0-2 count, it's still just very, very unfortunate.
Oh my God. Sorry, it's a fantasy football thing. We're drafting right now, and poor Sergio doesn't know how this works. And he put Ryan Tannehill in his queue and just drafted him 9th overall.
Nice. Speaking of Elias, what was your decision? What did you think of that 10th inning yesterday?
Thank the baseball gods. I didn't watch that shit. I don't have a comment.
Oh, yeah, and then one other thing I did want to tackle on, and everyone was, saying, it was the rigged umpires. Okay, sure, maybe that would have got us a run, but it would have tied it anyway, so it didn't make a difference. And, the point is you literally have the Manfred rule that works for every other team, but not us. And statistically, the Manfred rule usually helps out the away team, not the home team. So, only the Mets messed that up.
Only the Tub Mets can screw this up. So after that terrible decision, the day before we did have history, or if it's just a milestone, of Pete Alonso hitting number 100, the most 100 useless homers of anyone in his career. How many home runs at the end of his career will Pete Alonso end with? Obviously, we're going to start with Mets fan.
This is Pete Alonso. This is a generational power hitter that we're talking about. Now, I went to the math lab here, all right? And I tried to figure out maybe like an even plane for home runs with the evolution of power in the game. And I kind of edged it out to like 39, 40 home runs, 39 mostly. Pete Alonso's 26 in his 3rd season of his MLB career. Now, given his durability and conditioning to stay on the field, probably just jinxed it right there, I do believe he can play until he's 40 years old, which will be a 17-year career. You set the pace of 39 home runs for each year. You're looking at 663 career home runs, which would land him 6th in the all-time home runs list. Pretty sure. Or 5th. Not sure. Now, Alonso is the 2nd fastest to get 100 home runs in MLB history. So with the insane amount of power that he has, if he stays healthy, he could definitely go down as one of the greatest dinger hitters of all time. Easily.
Do them in bigger moments. Hayden, how many will the polar bear hit?
Yeah, great to see Alonso not get his 100th, but his 101st home run against the Marlins the other day. One little fun fact is Pete Alonso actually hit his first home run also in Lone Depot Park. So pretty historic there. And yet Michael Conforto did a similar thing. Conforto hit his 100th and 101st, both against the Marlins. So I don't know. Maybe the Marlins are pretty good for us to make records. So maybe we should play them a little bit more often.
No.
When we have records on the line.
No.
I mean, it's great to see Pete Alonso. I mean, there were talks today and the last couple of days about a long-term extension for him. Pete Alonso is hot.
Yeah,
I mean, just what else is there more to say? I could rant off about how he's improving so much offensively and even defensively. He's starting to seem to grapple it together. Personally, I mean, he's the second fastest player to hit to 100 home runs, trailing behind Ryan Howard. I don't think I've ever said that name before. And then slightly behind Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge, Acuna Jr. So very historic and great to see. Honestly, I mean, I could definitely see Alonso being in a type of Miguel Cabrera situation as he is a first baseman. Obviously, later in his career, I'm sure he could be a DH potentially. I can honestly see Alonso getting anywhere to 400 home runs potentially.
Okay. Tony?
I really don't know how to put a number on it, but it's been really fun to see. He was on the list of top 5 for most home runs in his first 3 full seasons, but that didn't really even count that he only played 55 games last year. So he would have destroyed that mark that I think Cody Bellinger and some other guys were on. So anyway, I don't really have a number. 500, how sick would that be? And if they all came in a Mets uniform, wow, he would absolutely shatter the Mets all-time home run record. But it's all going to depend on how healthy he is, how long he can stick around, and if the Mets retain him. But really happy for Pete, and he's looked great this year. By far most consistent Met this year.
Alonso's a Met for life, just saying.
Yep.
All right, Frank. Will he hit more than Dave Kingman, his player comp?
I think he'll hit more than Dave Kingman. If I had to put a number, I would say 470. And I think that's because Alonso is 26. So it's hard to imagine a guy that's 36 and up hitting, 35 to 40 home runs every year, unless you're Nelson Cruz. And Nelson Cruz is obviously, the exception. So other than that, I think that looking at his age, I would say 470.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to be very positive, and he's going to hit 197.
Wow. That's
Get out of here,
crazy.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Because he's going to blow out his ACL and never come back to baseball because he's a
Andrew?
dub. Screw Pete Alonso. I'm sorry. That's very nice. So speaking of actually good ball players,
I
let's
didn't
talk about
go.
Brent.
I didn't go.
Wait, what?
I didn't go.
Oh, Elias, you didn't go. So sorry, Elias.
All right.
No, you shouldn't go because you took my pick, but you can go if you want.
All right, I'm gonna go with 420 because today was my first day of senior year, my last day of my last year of high school, and I'm gonna be eventually too old to make jokes like that with stupid numbers and shit like that. So I'm gonna go 420. Yeah,
Very
Why
nice. Very nice.
nice.
Very, very nice number for
I
people.
had a feeling like a 69 or a 420 was going to come up.
Yeah, you knew.
Dude, my
something
last
was
year of
gonna
high
happen.
school. Last year I can make these jokes. Then I got to be an adult.
Fair enough.
Do you really though? I mean, adulting is kind of overrated. So speaking of, let's go to one of the hotter guys on the lineup at the plate, not in real life. It's not us.
Okay.
Let's talk about Jonathan VR. In Washington, it seemed like he never could get him out. Obviously now Miami, a different story. But VR, and when Nimmo was healthy, that was a dangerous 1-2 punch to start a game. Frank, how you feeling about your boy VR?
I like that Jonathan's been swinging a good bat, and the team has really needed, with the absence of Brandon Nimmo, having VR lead off and create some runs, get some weighted runs on the board. Hitting a lot of home runs, that's been good to see, because nowadays a lot of leadoff hitters do hit homers. It's not so much just the slap hitter that only hits a few homers and just gets on base. A lot of times you do have big power hitters in there. So VR, he's got 18 on the year now. He had a streak where he had home run after home run after home run. He's cooled down significantly from where he was, because he was at one point 7 for 7 or 8 for 8. So he's not as hot as he was, but he still definitely has been helping this team, starting every day. But now that he's cooled off a little bit, I'm glad they gave JD a start today against the left-hander. see what you got in JD. If Davis still can't do anything too significant, then you have to leave VR out there every day as the starting third baseman until his bat just goes completely cold. Like we said at the closer, when September 9th, you're 4 games out, you have to ride the hot hand. VR had a good week last week, so I really hope it continues. And I'm glad that he's not got picked off as much lately, and they need to send him more so he doesn't get picked off and could just provide more value.
Yeah. Tony, what are you thinking, Jonathan VR?
Yeah, he's been pretty much exactly what we all could have hoped for. You know, a utility guy that can come off the bench and start for periods of a time. So I've been really, really pleased. He's been hitting the ball like crazy. He stepped into the leadoff role as Nimmo went down. And, you know, I really do hope that he'll be back next year. That being said, he really does drive me crazy with some of his base running and fielding antics. But overall, he's one of those guys you definitely want to have on your team, put him on the bench and available to come in and play pretty much anywhere in the infield.
Yeah. We got this was, you know, you weren't happy they signed him, Elias. How you feeling now?
No, like I said, he's proved me wrong, and I'm so happy about it. I care more about my team winning than my pride or my shitty takes and whatnot. So, you know, with VR, he's been tremendous for this team, you know, especially in the role he's been given, you know, not getting all the playing time in the world. You know, a lot of players kind of fold when that kind of happens. They wish they had that playing time, and VR finally got it. You know, he wasn't complaining about it, finally got it. He's not Keon Broxton. He's not complaining about lack of playing time. Guys playing time, and hey, he really showed up, man. So good stuff for Jonathan VR. Really hope to see him next year. If you guys saw my last episode, I did a like an off-season plan, and I said you kind of have him as a veteran and kind of have him platoon with some of the younger guys like Abadi or Mauricio, just to see what they got. And he's a good security option if they don't play well. VR should be here next year, no doubt about it.
Sorry about that. I got a phone call in the middle of that. I'm sorry about that. Hayden, what do you guys think about Jonathan VR?
Yeah, VR's been really surprising. I mean, we all know the nickname I gave him, like the first couple games of the 2021 series. We all know the nickname I gave him. But he's been probably, you may not like this, but I think he's been one of our best offensive pickups this offseason. I mean, you've seen he really stepped up at a huge time during the injury stint with this team. And then simply enough, now when he's getting most of the time every day, whether it's starting at third base, which is probably where he's most likely going to play due to JD Davis's, poor playing appearances. But Jonathan VR, I mean, he's been productive. He has been a versatile player. He's been healthy, which is something that I think was a big concern for a lot of people this season. And overall, I mean, I think someone said before, he had like a 7 out of 8, on record. I mean, he's swiping 10 bags. I mean, he has, like 18 home runs? I mean, if you were to ask me on September 9th, saying that Jonathan VR would have 18 home runs and be second in the Mets, I'd say, you don't know anything about baseball. And Jonathan VR has just been super helpful. Hopefully the Mets do extend him. My only question is if he is going to be an everyday player or not. Is he going to want to be a bench pat? That is my only question. Is if we were to lock him up for, another year or two, is he going to want to be a bench pat? He's probably going to want to get some more playing time as he is a veteran. He wants to get his couple years out. And I think he has talent definitely to be worth. So I don't know if he'll walk this market. I would like to get some more stuff out of him. So we'll have to see with VR. Great next couple weeks for him ahead.
Yeah. Again, going to be a question. A lot of shortstops out there. So again, those guys are going to get the job as first. VR. Just got to see where the kind of market goes. Mets fan, what do you think? Your VR.
I mean, I think we'd probably drop dead if this guy wasn't playing well because we lost our leadoff hitter possibly for the entire year. And listen, my only concern with VR, and it's always been, is unlike Michael Conforto, can tend to be a streaky hitter, and I love VR. I love his he loves to swing. I like his aggressiveness. But the job of the leadoff hitter has never changed, even in this age of analytics, which is crazy. The leadoff hitter is the leadoff hitter because he's quick and he can get on base. Now he's been doing that right now, and I'm shutting up about it. But we'll see if it's sustainable to finish out the season. And if not, Luis Guillorme gets on base all the time, so he can be your leadoff hitter. No. VR, keep it up. Keep it good. Daddy VR, man. Daddy VR.
I would just like to point out the guy that at bat right now is for the Marlins is the guy that we should have faced following the De La Cruz walk, and just take a look at his basic sabermetrics.
I get you, Frank, or no?
Shit.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I got everybody.
Correcto.
Cool. Losing my mind. I got too many things going on right now. So pretty much, again, VR, again, great bench bat, 1-year deal. Would love to bring him back, depending on what the money, but he's probably looking for a starting job. So obviously the shortstops and middle infielders got to land first, because those guys are going to go first. The Correas, the Baez's, whoever. Then VR will find to see if he can find like a Bolt to go back to Baltimore. If Cincinnati strikes out again on all 4 shortstops, who they had interest before the season, maybe he goes back to Cincinnati. One of our last topics here is Francisco Lindor back to being somewhat of Francisco Lindor in Cleveland. I will start with Elias.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing well, and he played well back in the day in Cleveland with, great defense. The same Red Sox fan I got in the argument today told me that Francisco Lindor sucks. He was trying to say, oh, the Mets spend all the money and the players don't play it out and all that. Fucking annoying. But, Lindor, disappointing year this year. No doubt about it. He's going to be fine. He's going to be great next year. He's already showing signs this year that how good he's going to be next year. Am I kind of drinking the Kool-Aid, maybe hyping this guy up too much? Yeah. Is it okay to? He's on my team. Yeah. So, I'm Lindor's playing like a good player, and he was a pretty damn good player back in Cleveland. So I'd say so.
Tony, that was about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to say back to his old self, just because it's only been like about a 2 or 3 week period here where he's been looking good. But I'm happy, obviously, with how he's been playing. I'm just hoping that he can carry this positive feeling into next season. I know it's been brought up a ton, but very reminiscent. Excuse me, very reminiscent of how Carlos Beltran's first year went with the Mets in 2005. Heard the Boo Birds, didn't do very well. I think he only hit 16 home runs, came back in 2006, 38 homers, and obviously had a tremendous career with the Mets. So just hoping that is what happens, and that Mets fans will be able to cheer for him at Citi Field here in the last 2 weeks. So he can see that, look, we really just want to win as badly as you do. So just, we're pulling for you.
Yeah. Frank, is Lindor back?
He's better than where he was, but he's still not the same guy he was in Cleveland. I think there's still far too many weak ground balls, weak pop-ups. I mean, every now and then he gets the hard contact. His OPS plus is good. His WRC plus is good. But in the big moments, he'll hit a home run in Washington, which he did last time, even when he was struggling. So I need more than home runs against the Nationals before I say, oh, my gosh, Lindor is back. I mean, when you call it basic, but when you still have a 227 average, you're still not Lindor. I mean, Lindor would at least have 280 average, over 30 home runs. He's nowhere close in one of those departments. So I'm not ready to say that quite yet. He's better, but not where he should be.
Yeah, 100% agree with you that. Hayden?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to see what goes on with Lindor. I mean, Jamarcus Russell, Francisco Lindor, he's
Jermaine Johnson.
Been something else. Regardless of the contract, because I could probably sit on here for 24 hours and ramble off about getting belittled by people. But simply enough, I mean, people are saying, oh, Lindor's back. Is there a stat that talks about when you provide offense against the Nationals and the Diamondbacks and teams that are below 500? Because, I mean, otherwise, it's the same thing. When Lindor and the Mets were past last in Nationals Park, Lindor played well, and everyone said, oh, he's back. Oh, my goodness. Uncle Stevie. Oh, I'm so glad we signed this dude. And then what happened afterwards? He went back to hitting the ball well and getting unlucky. So, you know what? Honestly, with Lindor, it sucks to have to start off the first year. Yeah, I understand. Mike Piazza, Carlos Beltran. A lot of these guys who came on big contracts struggled their first and second year, and then the remainder of their contract, they played well. But I just think, with the high expectations this team had this season, it just really sucks to see. I mean, defensively, Lindor's been pretty solid. I mean, I haven't really seen him done anything terribly defensively. Maybe the poor communication with his buddy Baez in the Nationals game where that went right up the middle and they kind of just stood there and no one covered second. But otherwise, for the most part, Lindor has been pretty solid defensively. Offensively, he's been clutch against, yes, the Diamondbacks and the Nationals, but they're going to the playoffs, right? So we'll talk about it when he does it against the Brewers, the Red Sox, the Yankees. Then we'll talk about it.
You can't. It's who you play on the schedule. You can't change that. You got to win every game. So every game's like playing the Yankees. Dodgers.
Last night when he came up with 1 run on, he didn't do anything. So
again, baseball is a game of failure. You're gonna fail 7 out of 10 times. Mets fan, analytics people keep saying it. Is Lindor back?
I mean, yes, I do believe he's back to his old self, tendency-wise, of like how he's kind of approaching his approaches at the plate. I mean, now in the first half of the season, we were seeing a lot of garbage launch angle, basically. I mean, pop-ups, lazy ground balls, and a lot of that came down to that he was just trying to pull the ball, and that's what struggling hitters do. It's common. We've seen Michael Conforto do that all year. But this was getting so bad that he would overswing and the follow through would have this falling out thing where he had one hand on the bat. And we've all seen him do this. And it was his dominant hand. So he has his dominant hand on here. He's swinging and he's like this on the follow through. Now, he's starting to keep that little level push. He's like kind of forcing that dominant hand with the pitch. And by doing this, Lindor in the first half was pulling the ball at a 54% rate, which was his career high by an 11% margin. Now, since returning from the IL, he's been pulling the ball at a 42% rate. So a lot lower. Not to mention the hard hits, 29.8% in the first half, now 43.2% in the second half. In addition to that, obviously unlucky peripherals all year, elite plate discipline, which is at his second best of his career, behind 2018, obviously his best year, and on pace for a 4+ win season. The results will come slowly but surely. You will get the Francisco Lindor that you traded for. And also he's your best. I don't know what Hayden was talking about, but he's best. He's your best, one of your best guys in high leverage and best with runners in scoring position. So yeah, Francisco Lindor resurgence.
Best as in what statistic?
WRC plus
because he walked.
Let's see. Batting average, I'm pretty sure he's like 260. He's not bad.
That's not great either.
With runners in scoring position compared to everybody else on this team?
But he's not supposed to be compared to everybody else. He's supposed to be a guy that's a top 20 player in the league. I mean, you can't have a 260 average of runners in scoring position. But that contract?
You take what you can get. You take what you get. The contract that hasn't even started yet, Frank? Come on.
Yeah, there's no way to get out of it, to be fair.
That makes it more concerning.
So. All right, guys. So that was all the questions. I guess we're just going to sit and watch the rest of the game. If the chat's got any questions, leave them in the comments or in the chat below. Maybe we'll answer them. See if Stroman in the second get a little 2-out rally for the Marlins. See if we can get out of it. So, again, if you got any comments, leave them down in the chat, I guess.
Yo, Carson, can you give me the stream?
I can do that. The only thing is I'm going to switch setups, so I can put it here. And I'm going to, I'll try to do the same.
Take your time, you're good. Bro, I am feeling this. My team is fucking stacked, bro.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Sure, I'll give you the link to.
No way, I'm gonna dominate.
Bruh, Josh Allen, Calvin Ridley, Brandon Ayuk, CMC, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson, Darrell Henderson.
Weak.
Brody, let's see your team.
Here, I'll send it to you through Twitter.
I'm not loving my QB. I thought I could get somebody late. Nobody's taking QBs now. I don't like it.
Yeah. I just want to take the risk with Josh Allen because he gets you so much points.
I did that last year, round 9. I got him last year.
Wait, Tony, what's your name on here? Are you in this league?
Yeah, I'm Zach Wilson for MVP.
Oh, I thought that was Elias the whole time. I was the one of Elias because that's when you took Waller or whatever.
Elias.
Well, I'm stupid.
Why does it say your name's Matthew?
because that's
his real name.
my nickname. But
Oh,
Mm.
Oh,
my name was Anthony.
All right, I'll just send.
are we
it to
still
you.
live?
I'm gonna.
yeah, we're still live.
Oh, great.
We're
You
doing
guys
a watch
just
along.
talking to me.
John Heyman said there was a slim chance of DeGrom coming back.
It's John Heyman.
It's John Heyman.
Oh,
Facts.
John Heyman's better than a few of the other guys.
I mean, that's
Oh, your
not
team-
saying
your
much.
team's okay.
I'm not okay. Oh, I
No,
hate
you're
doing that.
okay.
I feel dirty doing that, but that's my only option.
What?
felt-
You drafted
it's a-
Tom Brady?
I drafted Brady. I looked at what's. I mean, I,
I
don't,
kept Brady.
Right, your team beat him
I kept
twice.
Brady because I got him
Yeah.
in the 8th round last.
I just saw. Oh, I just saw. I should have. Oh,
Why
maybe
didn't you join our league, Carson?
I'm
You're
too good for it.
fantasy football. Yeah.
No, I just have
Yeah.
one. I just do one team with my dad.
Yeah, that's
Kind of takes
fair.
away from him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed. I'm in 4 leagues. I'm not going to be able to manage it all.
I'm in 3. I
I'm
think
in
that's
2.
my max.
I
Yeah.
got 2.
I'm in
All right,
3.
I'm gonna switch setups, boys. I'll be right back.
Oh, God, I don't love this pick.
Oh, Frank's on. Oh,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, Frank's senior citizen.
Yeah. Now we're in like
That's
the.
fantasy football draft.
Now we're in the boomer
Oh, wait,
buzz.
he
We're in
got
the.
fucking Gus Edwards. Oh no.
All
He
right.
fucked me, dude. I have had him in my other league. I drafted him last night. And
Dude, how the
tears
hell
his
is-
ACL the next day.
Yeah.
I drafted him
Facts.
last night, blows his ACL the next day. I
How
drafted him
the
in the 4th round.
yeah. How the hell did Saquon get to the back of the 2nd round? I was like, what the hell? I'm like, I'll take him to round 2 in the back half.
It's also the Giants.
Hey, it's Saquon.
Dude,
You know,
that
he'll be a Raven in a couple of days. Don't worry about it. He'll be playing behind the. He'll be running behind the Ravens' offensive line. Don't worry about that.
Are you gonna be sad to see him go?
No, if I get picks back, I don't care. Running backs are the most replaceable position. I don't care.
Exactly.
I got a running back. I might be looking to the deal.
Who you got?
I got a couple of running backs I'm not crazy about because the auto draft took over for most of my draft.
Oh, it did.
Bro, I got Saquon, Chubb, and Hunt. I'm good. I like my
I
bag. I mean, I got 2
CMC,
Browns, but
Clyde and Robinson.
my
Should I
receiver
draft Sermon? Just go all running backs.
just go all running back.
Yeah.
I got Zeke and Eckler. I
I
just don't
tight
trust
end.
Zeke's health.
Robbie Tanyan.
I mean, well, Zach Martin had COVID, but the line was still decent when he's back. But,
No, but I'm just worried about Zeke's health. I
yeah,
don't
and
know,
the
sometimes Zeke can get banged
and the
up.
fumble issue. Gotta love those fumbles.
Well, fumbles don't really matter.
Dude, now I have 2 good running backs on my bench. Like, let's go. I'm making all.
It's like Tony took Waller. I wanted to take Waller. Tony took him right before me. I'm like, damn it, Tony.
Tony.
I got Kittle, so I mean, I'm happy with that, but I want a Waller over
Oh,
Kittle.
you want to hear? I came up with the best / worst name of all time for my other league.
Oh Lord,
I shouldn't say it. It's not PC. I'll put it in the. I'll
put it in the chat or the group chat or whatever. I mean, damn, I got a lot of NFC East guys. I got McLaurin. I got Cooper at receiver. Fake Giants fan, guys. I'm a fake Giants fan. Guys, I took Zeke last year. I just felt so bad. Like, why am I taking Zeke with the 4th pick last year? And he sucked. So that made it even better.
Check the private chat.
Oh boy.
Oh my god,
That's
that's good.
Our
That's
friend came
pretty
up with
good.
the best name of all time. He drafted Ryan Suckup, the kicker for the Bucks. So
Yeah.
he made his name Ryan Suckup these nuts.
nice.
Come on, Pete. We need some clutch action.
Shit.
Oh, come on, Ryan.
Wait,
Howard,
can we
what
answer
are
the
you doing?
can
Oh,
question?
deep to left. Oh, wait, it's fake because he's at the weight room. You tub.
Tell Francisco Lindor.
We ran about McCann. I'm already on.
I'm
the
back.
now.
Oh man.
I'm
Oh, did Tub get out?
yeah. Tub gave us the Lindor. Deep to left. Oh, it's a warning track shot. Not even.
Hey, hit it hard. That's all. That's his job.
That's
Spot
true.
on.
That helps the baseball savant page.
It helps the baseball
Go on.
savant. That's a fact.
That's a stat
Remember
padding.
Navi.
Yeah, where have we come to that stat padding for your savant page is like a thing.
That's a big fact.
Dude,
Just
Oh,
hit
yeah.
the ball hard
Don't
and
hit
go
this
off.
hard. It's like fuck getting on base.
Just
I
try to
better
find, beat Mike's name. Just find a
Better-
barrel and that's it.
Yeah, I better.
So
crush
can
it.
someone tell me how he scored in the first inning? Because to be honest with you, like I was confused. with my-
Baez,
It's called Javi Baez being Javi Baez.
walked.
Double,
No,
steal,
no,
third, scored home.
Oh,
no, he
pick.
swung and missed.
That's
No.
bad. His savant page is going down.
I
Yeah,
put on the back.
that messes up the chase
Hayden,
rate,
you,
whiff
Hayden,
rate.
you just like
You know
draft-
how insulting that is?
Yeah, Hayden, you're auto drafting, right?
To be honest with you, I mean, we were doing a discussion, so I just threw it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, please, let's go!
Because you just
Not
drafted
a power hitter, but
Oh,
a
man.
He lost that. He lost that, Lev. He lost.
That's my not a power hitter.
That's not. Yeah, he's not a power hit. That's probably harder than anything
Fuck,
Alonzo's
it
hit all
drafted
year.
me Kyle Murray. I don't want that bump.
No, it drafted you a kicker.
It could be like
I don't want
Yeah,
Kyle
there's
Murray's
Kyle.
ass. Oh, I got my
Oh,
defense.
no,
I got the Chargers.
Hayden. You do
the
not have
Rams
it as bad. Hold on,
defense.
Hayden. You do not have it as bad as Sergio, okay?
he took
I
10.
wanted Josh Allen
no
or
way.
Drew Lock or
Alright,
someone
alright.
that's actually good.
We had to auto draft, so we put.
Fuck! Oh, Cortland
you
Sutton. Cortland
out of
Sutton's coming
order.
to me
Okay,
next, boy.
Okay, let me talk. He
Noah
drafted
Fant and
Hold on.
Cortland
Hayden,
Sutton.
shut the fuck
Hayden,
up. All right.
stop,
He
for
drafted
real.
Ryan Tannehill, 10th overall. Gus Edwards, who just blew his ACL.
Damn.
Justin Tucker, 31st. Kicker.
Jesus Christ.
And drafted Justin Herbert and Justin Fields. He has 3 quarterbacks.
Damn, he also
You
took
got the
Melvin
Justin.
Gordon. Fuck!
If only you could
Running
draft
back
Justin Tucker.
Gus Edwards and AJ Dillon.
All right, I will be drafting Cortland Sutton, the MVP.
Andrew, you want to
Yeah, I think guys, we're gonna watch the game off stream. Obviously, we got the topics done. I will let the guys shout out their channel one more time. Obviously, they're all linked in the description down below if you guys aren't already subbed. So we'll go around and we'll start it with Frank about sports.
Yep, Frank about sports, do recaps, do some hypotheticals, do some ideas, react to sports news, all that good stuff. Definitely a lot of stuff coming in the off season like the rest of these guys. So thank you for having me and finish it off. Mets, protect the game, Strowman. Get that win-loss.
Damn it.
Tony?
Oh, sorry. Someone took one of my players. I wanted Corey Davis. What's up, guys? I'm Tony Metro. You guys can check out my channel. Links in the description. And that's it.
Hayden?
What's going on, everyone? Mets Talk with Hayden is the name. Raging is the game. Please feel free to check me out. I will be doing a live stream tomorrow. Pretty basic live streams regarding to series summaries and previews, news, predictions, updates, all that great stuff. Getting a lot of non-Met fans on the channel. It's great. Expands my knowledge. I couldn't really tell you much about the Royals or the Blue Jays. So appreciate everyone for tuning in to my streams and, of course, Mets Weekly. Let's freaking go, Mets, guys. Let's win this game. And thank you, Andrew, for hosting.
Elias. And the Braves are losing.
Hey,
The Phillies losing.
No, they're winning 1-0.
oh, you had to call on me when I'm about to have to make my pick. But all right, Big Al Banter Media is the channel name. Gonna try to get back into the swing of things with the baseball content. The live call-in show should be back soon. Gonna be doing some more football content now that the season's starting. I might start doing more like trollish content, like with the Bless Austin video I made. I might want to do stuff like that, especially if the Bills or the Dolphins lose. Then I'm gonna let them know about it. I'm not
100%.
getting more stuff like that. Just, quick little edits and whatnot are fun to do. But yeah, Big Al Banter Media is the channel name. Hope to see you guys there. I got a couple new subs recently with the Bless Austin video. They got like 600 views, which for me is like 1 million. So thank you guys for that.
And Tub.
Oh, the Broncos defense.
It's too early. to get to defense.
I'm a Mets fan. The analytics guy. That's about it. Just win. Win, Mets. Just win. That's all I ask.
All I do is win.
Please.
Win
Just
no
win,
matter
baby.
what.
Tell
Got
Davis.
money on my mind.
All right, let's stop.
As Conforto does what Conforto does best, hits into the shift, hits the ball hard though into the shift. Streaming,
Snap
It's on page.
Snap padded his
Good
savant.
Expoba.
getting the XBA up, all the extra.
Yeah.
all
Pat
that.
bitterness.
padding
Unlucky.
savant.
The bitterness of the six.
We want results, not hard hit outs. Tomorrow is Team Affinity Season 4. I will be streaming majority of the day.
Hey,
Grinding, I'm pretty much going to unlock a bunch of them right as the thing drops. Going to finish up Mookie, maybe debut Mookie. Definitely going to be debuting Mookie this weekend. And, again, probably a post game for the one game of the Yankee series. I don't know which one yet. Maybe it's a Saturday game because they're playing on Fox at like 4, so maybe I'll do that game. But that's all I really got coming, obviously. Going to be going away pretty soon. So, obviously, I'm trying to get some content done before I leave. So, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to these guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.